Hey, what up? This is your girl and Simone coming up in here. The Boston bomber has been caught, previously recorded. Hopefully when y'all get this, I know it's gonna probably be late because of YT, but I'm about to show y'all some clips, so stay tuned. Check it out. Thank God they got caught. Amen. Check it out. I got some news stories. Hold on 1 second, y'all. As they say, we got him. Boston bombing suspect. Check it out. Stay tuned. They want to play commercials.
Bring it on. Way on. The Everyday Collection by Target.
No copyrights intended.
With us by telephone. Ron, you're down there somewhere. I'm on Mount Auburn Street, right in the middle of Watertown, just a few blocks from where all this went down. It's really quite a scene out here. You know, there's probably several hundred people lining the streets. I counted at least several dozen police vehicles of every sort coming out here.
Check it
Their
out.
lights are flashing. There's a lot of excitement in the air. There are families out
He
here.
was caught.
Little kids enjoying what's something they're probably going to remember for a very, very long time in this community. Throughout this whole week or so, we've seen so many efforts that were communal, that were people coming together in the hospitals where the doctors came together, that came into the emergency wards when they were off duty to help out. Here in this neighborhood, people were locked down, but they started trickling out once they heard that the suspect had been cornered, and now they're cheering. They were shouting USA, USA a little while ago. Just an incredible scene out here. It's like it's a celebration, but it's not in any way vindictive. It's not it's a very dignified celebration, catharsis, release, sigh of just satisfaction, and a lot of congratulations to the men and women, police, military who've been out here protecting this community. It's a real coming together that gives just a real feeling of unity, and I don't know that I've ever seen anything like this. I can't remember the last time I ever saw police and law enforcement just cheered like this one by one as they drive through here with their lights flashing. Just the applause is deafening. And there's a helicopter flying overhead as well. The helicopter that was playing a big role in spotting the suspect. They're cheering the helicopter, they're cheering the police cars. Just an incredible night out here in Watertown, right? Yeah, Ron, I'm sitting here thinking
But it's more behind it. If y'all seen the pictures of the dude.
Ride-alongs during the night shift, and if you've ever known a police officer and you've been with them, it can sometimes feel like the most thankless job in the world. And yet, on their worst day ever, to have their best reception ever on the job. Nothing wrong with this in the world, and this is awfully gratifying. They've done something extraordinary. Exactly. And I think probably the police officers, they really feel that. And, a police officer was lost, an MIT officer, another one was an FBTA officer was badly wounded. They took some hits along the way here, and it could have been a whole lot worse.
Amen. It could have been a lot worse. Check out the gap. I don't know what this is.
Newspapers that are dated April 19th, 2013
Check it out.
will not be read. And Now, a lot of things that will be in the April 20th, 2013 newspapers will not be noticed even if they get in there. Today, for example, you will be surprised to note that the Republican governor of Kansas signed into law one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country.
All right, this is something else.
Expedited the process for
But
vets who've been waiting more than a
what
year
I'm
on their disability
saying
claims.
is
The Boy Scouts
the
today
Boston
decided they would maybe
Marathon
stop some of the
bomber
ways they discriminate
suspect was
against gay people.
captured.
And the
Look
giant
at this.
fertilizer plant explosion in Texas, the death toll rose to
The hunt
14
is
today.
over.
And the date on which all of those things happened in the news
Here's some more
will forever live on as historical
information.
news footnotes, because however important those
We're
stories
gonna go
are
with
or turn
that.
out to be
You
in the
know,
long run, it will always be remembered about them if they're remembered
these
as
is the
long-term stories.
victims.
It will always be remembered that nobody was following them closely on the day that they happened, except for the people most close to those stories. And the reason people weren't following them today is because today was the day the nation
When
instead
nobody
was all
doing it,
holding
they
its
wasn't.
breath all day
Check
long,
it out.
riveted to the sound and the sight of what happened tonight in Watertown, Massachusetts. Video of that gunfight was shot by WHDA's Amos in Boston just before 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight in Watertown, Mass. We now know that was the start of the FBI hostage rescue team catching the guy, catching the remaining at-large suspect in the bombing of the Boston Marathon. They got him. He is alive. He is in custody. We have a live report from the hospital where he is right now.
They got so many reports coming in, y'all. I jumped down, but check it
Started
out.
the FBI press conference that happened last night at roughly 5 p.m. That was at the Sheraton Hotel in Boston, just a very short distance away from the site of where the bombs went off on Monday. Now, the benchmark moment of that all-important FBI press conference was, of course, when they released the photos of the suspects for the first time and asked the public to please call in if you knew anything about these guys.
I knew they was gonna catch me. I told you.
It's easier to see, I think, in hindsight, was investigators announcing at that presser that their thinking about the investigation had changed. It had changed from being about a lone assailant to being about more than one person.
Within the last day or so, through that careful process, we initially
But with
developed a
that
single
being
person of
said,
interest.
as y'all see, he
Not
was
knowing
caught,
that the individual was
the
acting
brother
alone or in
dead.
concert with others, we obviously worked with extreme
That's
purpose
what's
to
up.
make that determination. Indeed, through that process, the FBI developed a
Y'all
second
jot that
subject
down and tell me
suspect.
what y'all think about it.
Today, we are enlisting the public's help to identify the two suspects.
So that happened at about 5 o'clock last night. Once the FBI posted those pictures of the two suspects and the surveillance video on their website, they said today that they started receiving traffic at the FBI website at a rate of 300,000 hits per second.
Wow.
We're told that the FBI then began receiving all sorts of names from the public a short time later. It was 5 hours after the press conference at about 10:30 p.m. last night that a seemingly unrelated event started to cross the wires. Across the river from that FBI press conference in nearby Cambridge, Massachusetts, police discovered that a campus police officer at MIT had been shot and killed on the grounds of the school.
See?
26-year-old Sean Collier was shot multiple times inside his police cruiser. It was not clear immediately at the time, but investigators now believe that he was shot by those two bombing suspects who had been publicly identified by the FBI just a few hours earlier.
A shame.
After the police officer was shot, the police account of events says the suspects then left the scene of that shooting and traveled east. But they did not go far. What they did was they carjacked a Mercedes SUV at gunpoint. They held the owner of that vehicle hostage in the vehicle and they took off. They ended up going to 3 different ATM sites to use that guy's ATM card to withdraw $800 in cash. They eventually released the owner of the Mercedes sometime around 11 p.m.
Wow.
What followed after
So,
that was a wild,
corporate,
middle-of-the-night
as you can
car
see.
chase and shootout between those two suspects and law enforcement. The scene of that shootout in Watertown, Massachusetts, which is just next to Cambridge, where MIT is, Watertown is just outside the city of Boston. It is unclear if these suspects were trying to flee the whole area, and that's how they ended up there.
They
But
were.
suburban Watertown is where they ended up. And suburban Watertown thereby became the backdrop for a massive firefight that stretched late into the night. residents reported hearing 3 explosions during that gunfight. And we now know that the 2 suspects were throwing explosive devices at police from inside their moving vehicle during that chase. Officials say they recovered pipe bombs as well as a pressure cooker bomb, which we're told is the same type of device that was used in the marathon bombing itself, a pressure cooker bomb. During that firefight with police in Watertown in the dead of night last night, there were about 200 rounds fired. That gun battle ultimately ends in the death of one of the suspects, the one in the dark-colored hat from the FBI briefing. He's 26-year-old Tamerlan Tsarnaev, the older of the 2 brothers. Police say that he died with an improvised explosive device strapped to his chest.
Wow, IUD on his
chest. One suspect now dead. Police begin a massive door-to-door manhunt in Watertown.
They're about to get him.
For the younger brother, 19-year-old Jokar, who fled on foot apparently after that firefight. Hundreds of police officers and FBI agents and other law enforcement began canvassing
I'm not going to go wrong with it. But you see what I'm saying? I said you're going to get caught.
And then the shelter-in-place order was spread out to include all of Boston. All transit services stopped. All taxi services stopped. The city comes to a complete halt. And in the midst of the search for the suspect at large, another suspicious device is discovered back in Boston. This one actually very close to the site of Monday's marathon bombing. That device is ultimately destroyed by police during a controlled explosion.
They put 2 more out.
7 a.m. this morning. Police then also investigate reports of suspicious devices at the Cambridge apartment where the 2 suspects lived.
Look at
this.
Said
tonight that unexploded ordnance or devices of some kind were discovered, but they have since been made safe. Police convened another press conference late this afternoon to announce that the manhunt was still on. But despite
they knew who it was. They had the nerve to come back out and do something else.
That was not the case. They were still focusing on finding this one young man, 19-year-old Jokar.
It probably was 3. Another one is missing.
Even though
that's cool. They're going to find him too.
That, the city just could not stay locked down forever. So they lifted the shelter-in-place order.
Maybe it's time to be resting in peace. I'm out. I am so glad they caught.
To be on the lookout, to call 911.
But check it out.
People were told to expect very heavy and
I knew it. Look at that.
Presence in Boston and in its surrounding neighborhoods, particularly
well, with this being said, I'm about. I'm quite sure y'all saw the rest.
37 minutes after that press conference ended, with the lifting of the shelter-in-place order, 37 minutes later, Watertown erupts again. What we know.
Sound like they going through. Look at that.
What we know about that footage is that it happened shortly before 7 p.m. It was shot by the NBC affiliate in Boston, WHTH, on a quiet residential street in Watertown, only a few minutes walk from where the suspect last night was killed by
and I'm
police.
out. See what I'm saying? I said it. They were going to get caught. I don't want to go further with this, but I thank God that Boston is tight now. They had the gall to come back out here with bombs, IUDs on his chest. Idiots. Still doing stupidity. Well, as I said in my video, they were going to get caught. They got caught. Unfortunately, the oldest one with the cap, he's the one that probably plotted it himself. You had the auntie all on camera. Oh, no, I don't think that he would do no shit like that. No. But what it is, what it is. They done went out on another spree doing some other stupid stuff. That's why they got caught. And I knew they was. And I thank God. Rest in peace to all those. Even this officer that got killed because of another spree they did. And from what I'm heard, they said that the police knew about these idiots a long time ago. The folk. But I don't know. If they did, they done came out here and did this. Lord. I'm about. This is more stuff to go. This video is about 14 minutes.
That is just remarkable. So after the shelter-in-place order was lifted by state officials, the person who lived in that house where the firefight happened, the resident of that house in Watertown, went outside. The shelter-in-place order was lifted. It's okay to go outside. So he decided to go outside, reportedly to have a smoke. He keeps his boat on a trailer parked in the backyard of his house. When he went outside, he noticed that there was something wrong, something amiss with the tarp that covered his boat.
He was in it, the dude.
He approached the boat. He pulled the tarp back and saw the suspect hiding inside the boat covered in blood. The man then retreated, called 911. Police immediately sped to the scene. Police set up a perimeter. They flew a helicopter over the site that was equipped with thermal imaging technology so they could use, essentially, the suspect's body heat, his heat register, to determine if there was somebody alive and inside that boat, and there was. And at that point, officials knew there was a reason to go in. The FBI's hostage rescue team initially were told to try to talk
I'm
him
up out of here, y'all, but I'm just glad that this is over and I'm out. I'm not going to keep going with it. Good, they caught him. Amen to that. You know, it is what it is. And I'm out. You know, that's what's up. They caught him, and that's what they get. Peace. I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. Boston. Much love to y'all. Stay safe. The United States, we don't play. And we up out of here. Peace. Nina Simone, and I'm out.